Hey guys, thank you so much for coming to my channel. For today, we're just going to go ahead and do kind of a simple morning routine just to kind of wake up a little bit, get the juices flowing. You won't need any props for this, and it's good for any level. So whether this is your first time trying yoga or you've been practicing for 10 years, it's probably a good one to just get started with your day. So without further ado, we'll go ahead and get started. So we'll go ahead and start today at the front of our mat. So once you get there, you can just think about really pressing through your foundation, your feet here, standing up nice and tall. If you want to, you can picture maybe a string connecting the top of your head to the ceiling or sky if you're lucky enough to practice outside today. And then you can bring your palms to face the front of your mat. Roll the shoulders down the back. Maybe have a nice soft bend in the knees here so you don't have to have them locked. Actually, you shouldn't have them locked. We'll just start taking a couple deep breaths. So breathing in all the way into the low belly and breathing out either through the nose or the mouth. Sometimes it can feel good to just kind of sigh it out. And we'll just take a couple more, trying not to rush through the breathing. Really taking our time here. And on your next inhale, we'll go ahead, raise the arms overhead. Exhale, fold forward. Nice big bend in the knees here, especially since it's in the morning. Kind of want to slowly wake up. Maybe bending one knee and then the other. Next inhale, we can come to a half lift. Stay here for a couple breaths. So really using your core to support you here. Trying not to hold yourself up with your arms. And then next exhale, fold forward again. Just kind of letting everything in your upper body kind of drape over the lower body. And staying nice and stable through your foundation, so through your legs, through your feet. So we're kind of just doing some half sun salutes here just to kind of wake up nice and easy. On your next inhale, sweep the arms to the sides, come all the way up. And exhale, hands down. So you can come back to mountain pose if you want for a couple breaths. Maybe check in again with the feet, spreading the toes nice and wide, really pressing through your feet here. And we'll do that whole thing one more time, but a little bit faster, so kind of moving with the breath here. So inhale, raise the arms overhead. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold forward. And then inhale, sweep the arms to the sides, come all the way up. And exhale, arms down. This time we're going to go ahead, inhale the arms up. Exhale, we're going to lower the left hand down, bring the right arm up, and then over. Take a couple breaths here, really supporting yourself with your core. So even though you're getting into the side, you can still use that core strength to kind of support you. So you're not, again, you're not leaning on your arm or your leg. Next inhale, we'll bring both arms overhead. And exhale over to the other side, right arm down, left arm up first, and then over. Again, keeping the core nice and strong. And then next inhale, bring both arms up. And exhale, we'll take one more forward fold here. Maybe getting into the sides a little bit. If you want to, you can hold opposite elbows. Maybe sway side to side. And then on your exhale, you can go ahead and release the hands. Inhale, come all the way up to stand. And exhale down. All right, go ahead. Let's inhale, raise the arms overhead. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, half lift. Make a little change here. So exhale, step your left foot back. So you can come into either a runner's lunge here, or you can lower your back knee down. And you can keep those toes in the back tucked or untucked, just depending on how your knee's feeling. Sometimes one feels better than the other. A lot of these yoga classes are going to be kind of up to you. So especially since we're doing them online, it's good to kind of listen to your body here. If something's uncomfortable or if anything's hurting, you always want to come out of it. And then when you're ready, on an exhale, we can slowly make our way back, either through tabletop or just come back into down dog. So taking a couple deep breaths here. You can keep the knees nice and bent. You don't have to have the legs completely straight. Especially if you start to feel any rounding in your spine, just go ahead and start to bend your knees a little bit more. And that's where this kind of self-awareness comes in. All right, next inhale, we're going to go ahead, step the left foot up this time. So just coming onto the other side, either the runner's lunge or low lunge here. Taking a couple deep breaths. Feel free to adjust your stance a little bit. So if you want to wiggle your foot forward, if you feel like you're not getting a deep enough stretch, you can do that. If it's too deep, you can kind of wiggle your front foot back. And again, just experimenting with that back foot. You can tuck or untuck the toes. So again, this is just going to be a nice short practice to kind of wake up in the morning. All right, and then when you're ready, this can be a little bit challenging for those of you who are a little bit more new, but we're just going to try to take one big step forward. If you can't, that's totally fine. Just take a couple little steps and we'll meet in forward fold. Here we're going to add in a little bit more movement with breath. So on an inhale, we're just going to come to a half lift. And then on an exhale, fold forward. So you can do that as many times as you want. If you only want to do it once, you can do that. Or if you want to keep going with your breath, that's always good. Just make sure you're supporting yourself with your core. You're not just like yanking your back up and then yanking it back down. And if you're doing a few, we'll just go ahead and do two more. Otherwise, you can just chill and forward fold. And then on an inhale, come up to stand. And exhale down. Great job. All right. One more time. Inhale, raise the arms overhead. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, we'll go ahead, step the left foot back. This time we're going to try to keep that back knee up off the mat. See if here you can start to notice maybe one of your hips is kind of sinking a little bit. See if you can keep your hips nice and even. If you want a little bit more of a challenge, feel free to inhale, bring the arms up overhead. This feels good to do in the morning because you're kind of like opening up, kind of getting those muscles warmed up. And then on an exhale, bring it back down and slowly make your way back to down dog. You can pedal the feet out here if you want, or just come to stillness. Again, it's up to you. And then on your next inhale, go ahead, step the left foot forward this time. And we'll do the same thing on this side. So you can either stay here, try to keep that back knee up off the mat. Again, if you're not feeling that today, you can totally keep it down. This is your practice. And again, if you want a little bit more heat, a little bit more challenge, inhale, bring the arms overhead. Take a nice deep breath. And then when you're ready, exhale, back to runner's lunge and back to down dog. So we're going to stay here just for a little bit. If you want to experiment a little bit with your stance, feel free to do that. You can take the feet a little bit wider, or you can take them closer to the hands. Lots of time here to kind of experiment a little bit with that. We'll take 2 more deep breaths. And then on your next exhale, we'll go ahead, just lower the knees and bring the hips back to the heels for child's pose. You can keep the arms more active here, so elbows up off the mat, or you can start to just relax them. Maybe focus on your breathing a little bit more. Next exhale, we'll go ahead and walk the hands off the mat to the right. If you want a little bit of a deeper stretch, you can take your left hand over your right. And here, your left hip is going to want to kind of pop off the heel, maybe come forward a little bit. See if you can just keep it glued back. And if that brings your hands into the center, that's totally fine. On an inhale, we'll come back to center and take a little breath here. And then next exhale, we'll move over to the left side. So if you want a little bit more of a stretch on your right side, you can go ahead, take your right, your right hand over your left. It's early for me too. Again, just keeping that right hip glued back. On an inhale, we'll come back to center. Take a breath here. And then your next inhale will come up to tabletop. And we'll just take a few cat-cows. So inhale, lowering the belly button, look forward. Exhale, pull the belly button up. And release the head. Point the tailbone to the floor. And you can go at your own speed here, so kind of just waking up. If you want to take some rib circles, sometimes that feels really, really good, especially in the morning. Maybe reverse the circle each time, or you can do a set number one direction and then do the same number to the other direction. And then when you're ready, once you've gone an equal number to each side, then you can go ahead and just walk your hands forward, keeping your hips over your knees as much as possible. Just lowering down. Next inhale, make your way back up to tabletop, and then you can come around to your seat. And from here, we're going to bring our left foot into our inner right thigh and extend the right leg out. It can be a little bit off the mat, that's fine. And then when you're ready, we're going to take our right hand to our left thigh, so we're kind of doing a little twist here. And if it's a little bit more comfortable, you can bring your right hand just to the mat here or to your left ankle. On an inhale, we're going to bring our left arm up and over and just coming into a side stretch on this side. Keep those right toes flexed back towards you. And just breathe. This is one of the reasons why we practice kind of doing these side bends with that core support earlier. So you don't want to just be collapsing into this. Make sure you feel nice and supported. Next inhale, you can come back up. We're going to come into Baddha Konasana here, butterfly. That's always my favorite Sanskrit one to say. So much fun. So we'll bring the soles of the feet to touch and allow the knees to just relax out to the side. Inhale, sit up nice and tall. And exhale, lead with the chest first to come forward. And once you get to the spot where you feel a little bit of kind of sensation, shouldn't be pain, just sensation, then you can exhale, maybe bring your chin to your chest. If you want to get into the shoulders a little bit, the upper back. And you might start to notice the longer you're here, the more you can kind of come forward a little bit. And if that doesn't happen, that's okay too. You don't always have to be going for flexibility. Sometimes it's nice to just come onto the mat, to take a little brain break from everything. Your next inhale, we'll go ahead, just sit back up. And we're going to extend the left leg this time. So we're coming into that little side stretch twist on this side. So you can bring your left hand either to the mat, your right ankle, shin, or your right thigh. Flex your left toes. On an inhale, bring your right arm up and over. I'm just making sure you're supporting yourself here so you're still using your core, even though it can be really tempting to just kind of flop over to the left. Remembering to flex those left toes back towards you. On an inhale, come back up. And then you can go ahead, bend both knees, and just slowly come onto your back. And then when you're ready, we're going to scooch our heels in, kind of towards our sits bones, our booty here. Only as far as it's comfortable, so you never want to feel any kind of tension in your knees. Again, just protecting those knees. They can be very sensitive. Maybe open up the chest a little bit. Bring your palms face down by your hips. On your next inhale, scoop the hips up. So use your core, your glutes. Making sure to not allow the knees to kind of splay out here. You want to keep those inner thighs engaged. And just take a couple breaths here. You can close your eyes if you want, or keep them open. And then as you exhale, slowly bringing the hips back down to the mat and hugging the knees into the chest. Something I like to do in the mornings is kind of rock and roll. So you can rock and roll back and forth or side to side, whatever feels good. Might hear some crackle in here. Again, as long as there's no pain, you're good. Sometimes the body literally talks to you. And you can do this pretty much as long as you want to, but I'm gonna go ahead, slowly make my way onto my back. Oh, I love doing that. All right, and then whenever you're ready, you can go ahead and meet me here. Start to extend one leg and then the other. Maybe kind of rotating the hips a little bit, massaging that low back. And let's be honest, who doesn't love a good butt massage? And then whenever you're ready, you can start to come to stillness. You might be asking, why are we coming into Shavasana at the beginning of the day? Well, you could be doing this anytime during the day, pretty much. But it's always good to kind of give yourself this moment of stillness, even when you're trying to wake up. Maybe just taking a minute or two to just not think about your to-do list yet. All the important things will come back to you. You don't have to constantly have them bouncing around in your head. Just take a couple deep breaths. Let everything settle in. And know that whatever you have to do today, you got this, all right? I believe. If you want to make the breath a little bit deeper, you can do that. Or just use your natural breath, that breath that you don't have to think about, that just automatically happens. Maybe start to focus on the inhales a little bit more, making them a little bit deeper, a little bit longer. If you want to extend your Shavasana here, I always recommend that. It's always better to have a longer Shavasana. But if you don't have time, or if you're doing this in the morning and you don't want to get too relaxed before your day, you can go ahead, start to bring some movement back, bending the knees, and rolling onto whatever side you're more comfortable on. And you can go ahead and slowly help yourself up into a nice comfy seat. Oof. My hair always gets so frizzy after. And we'll end by saying namaste, which means the goodness in me recognizes the goodness in you guys. Thank you so much. Namaste. If you guys liked the class, feel free to give this video a thumbs up, comment, let me know what you liked, what you didn't like. and I will be posting more soon. So stay tuned and hit that subscribe button if you don't want to miss any. Thank you guys so much. Have a great day. Thanks.